Jacob Zuma has just lost a key court battle, and now the taxpayers want their money back. Today we're unpacking the court order forcing him to repay millions, the fresh legal war over South Africa's controversial NHR Act, and while Wimpy's parent company is still thriving while everyone else is tightening their belts. Plus, in the Wildcard, the story behind one of South Africa's most infamous words and how it changed the world. My friends, if you are enjoying the show, be sure to like and subscribe. And now, without further ado, let's get into it. Jacob Zuma has suffered a major court defeat, and it's a big one. The High Court in Pretoria has ordered the former president to repay 28.9 million rand in taxpayer money that covered years of his personal legal battles, plus interest. So this all stems from the Talis arms deal corruption case, where Zuma faced charges of fraud, racketeering, and money laundering dating back to the 90s. So for more than a decade, the state quietly footed his legal costs until the court ruled in 2021 that it was unlawful for taxpayers to bankroll the defense of the very man accused of corruption itself. So now the judges have made it official. Zuma must personally pay it all back. So he's been given 60 days to settle up. Missed the deadline and the state attorney could seize his pension or assets. And now with interest piling up, that final bill will easily surpass 30 million rand. A striking end to one of the longest running fights over public money in South African politics. Now keep in mind that this is Zuma's most serious courtroom defeat since 2021, the year that his contempt conviction set off unrest that spiraled into nationwide looting. No one thus far is expecting a repeat of that, but it does raise the question: what happens if he doesn't pay? If Zuma truly doesn't have the money, will he give up his pension and assets? Or are we in for another standoff between the state and its most defiant former president? Either way, this one is far from over. South Africa's battle over the National Health Insurance, or NHI, is heating up again. And look, whether you're on medical aid or use public hospitals, this one affects you because it could reshape how all healthcare in this country is run. So in case you haven't heard of it, the NHI Act is the government's plan to merge public and private healthcare into one national fund, where the state pays doctors and hospitals directly for everyone's care. But critics argue it's unaffordable and unconstitutional, and there are 8 separate court cases already challenging it. Now, business group Sakeliga is accusing the health minister of trying to sidestep those cases. You see, he's asked the courts to pause these NHR cases, saying that it will save money while other issues are sorted out. Now, Sakeliga's response is, if the legal challenges stop, then the rollout must stop too. Otherwise, government could start implementing the scheme before judges even rule on it. Now, adding to the tension, both Treasury and the Health Department are reportedly working to phase out medical aid tax credits to help fund the NHR, a move that could make private cover far more expensive. South Africans might be tightening their belts, but they're still grabbing burgers and breakfasts. You see, famous brands, the owner of Wimpy, Steers, and Debonair's, just posted a solid set of half-year results. Revenue up 5.6% to 4.2 billion rand, profit up 5.8%, and headline earnings 8% higher. You see, with more than 3,000 restaurants now open, famous brands says that quick service chains are still pulling in crowds as people look for faster, cheaper meals over sit-down dining. Think those compact stores, petrol station outlets, and drive-thrus that keep expanding across the country. So with that in mind, its premium portfolio, restaurants like Turner Tender and Mythos, is taking strain as households swap pricier nights out for takeaways. But behind the scenes is manufacturing arm, which supplies everything from burger patties to pizza bases, help lift margins despite weaker retail coffee and frozen food sales. So all in all, it's a modest win in a tough economy. Proof that while eating out is changing, South Africans haven't lost their appetite for familiarity. And before we cruise on to our Bagel Bite of the day, here's a couple other headlines worth knowing. For starters, the Financial Action Task Team will decide tomorrow whether South Africa has done enough to be removed from its international grey list. Now, that label was added in 2023 for weak anti-money laundering controls, but Treasury says all 22 required fixes are now complete. Chinese cars continue to take over South Africa's roads. Both Amoda and JQ reported a 50% surge in quarterly sales as cash-strapped buyers ditched the more traditional brands for cheaper, feature-rich Asian models. And the Special Investigating Unit is preparing lifestyle audits for more than 800 senior police officers, including the National Commissioner, after evidence linked top cops to criminal cartels and corruption before the Madlunga Commission of Inquiry. And on to our Bagel Bite of the day. This is the last one of the work week. Let's end it with a W. Let's see what you got. The question is, which natural phenomenon is measured on the Richter scale? Is it A, tornadoes, B, earthquakes, or C, tsunamis? Bonus points if you know the biggest ever recorded. And on to our wildcard section. It's one of the most infamous words in the world, and it was invented right here in South Africa. The word apartheid comes from Afrikaans, formed by combining apart, meaning separate, with the suffix hate, ironically, which translates to hood or nest, so it literally means apartness. The word itself first appeared in academic papers and policy speeches in the 1930s when Afrikaner intellectuals were searching for a polite, technical term to describe racial segregation. So when the National Party came to power in 1948, it turned this linguistic invention into law. In fact, hundreds of them. Apartheid became more than just a word, it became a brand for state control, a way to make forced separation sound orderly. Ironically, the word that once meant keeping apart now sits in global dictionaries as a warning, shorthand for the dangers of dividing people based on race, language, or belief. But hey, words evolve and so do nations. The same country that once coined apartheid now stands as proof that systems can fall and language can change. A word that once divided the world now reminds us what unity costs and what it's worth. And as for that Bagel Bite, the Richter scale measures earthquakes, and it's logarithmic, meaning that every whole number increase represents 10 times more shaking. The biggest earthquake ever recorded struck Chile in 1960, hitting 9.5 on the scale and unleashing tsunamis across the Pacific, reaching as far as Japan and the Philippines. And my friends, that's it for today's show, and that is it for the work week. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you guys will have a great weekend. And look, if your health allows it, spend some time outdoors, get some sun, touch some grass. Myself, I've spent a little bit too much time in the studio this week, so I'm actually cruising out to the Drakensberg with my best mate just to get some much needed downtime. But either way, we'll see you all same time on Sunday evening. Have a good one. God bless.